Okay, David, can you hear me? Oh, great. There we go. Listening to Rabbi Knight and reflecting on this past year, I find myself deeply grateful for this community and for the opportunity to serve as your president. What has stayed with me most is how deeply people care about Jewish life, about one another, and about the future of Temple Beth. And what has become clear to me is that none of this is accidental. It reflects the choices we're making together about the kind of Jewish community we continue to build. There's so much happening across the congregation that it's impossible to capture it all in a few minutes. And I know y'all don't want me to go on and on and on. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to pick up the year in review that's outside, okay, of the sanctuary. If you don't have it already, please pick it up. I'll badger you on the way out, right? It provides a wonderful overview of this past year, everything from how we are building relationships in community, to enriching worship, expanding Jewish learning and spiritual growth, to supporting our youth, caring for one another, repairing the world, to how we are strengthening the financial foundation that makes all of this possible. It really tells the story of why we are in a place of strength and momentum today. So make sure you pick one up. I want to bring a couple of examples to life. One place where this strength is especially visible is in our work around Jewish learning and engagement. I had the opportunity to attend the religious school open house in early May. At the very beginning, before anything else, the children and their parents did something very simple. They played a name game where each parent and child introduced themselves and paired their name with a sign or gesture that felt like them. Some were a little shy at first. Others were fully in it right away, as you would expect. And I'll admit, I had to really think and come up with a sign for myself, and I fell back on the old faithful, right? But within a few minutes, what could have been a room full of nerves became something else, a space where people were smiling, loosening up, and beginning to connect with one another. And later, during the parents' information session, Rabbi Nichols asked a simple question. Why is it important for your child to have a Jewish education? The answers were powerful. Connection to family and history, building Jewish identity, and giving children a foundation for how to live meaningful lives. What was so striking is how thoughtfully it had all been designed. From the opening name game to the final conversation with parents, the entire experience was intentionally crafted to build connection, strengthen Jewish identity, and create community. It wasn't simply an educational program, it was an exercise in belonging. And in many ways, it gave me a window into exactly what Rabbi Knight was describing earlier, how the feeling of community that so many of us experience here is intentionally created. And you can see the impact. This year we had 345 students enrolled in our religious school, our highest enrollment since the pandemic. Moments like that don't create themselves. Rabbi Nichols, who, as you know, is our director of lifelong Jewish learning, together with our education committee, led by Robin Levitt, has spent the past year leaning into the idea that education and engagement reinforce one another by treating parents as partners in their children's Jewish journey. They've been doing this thoughtfully and deliberately, clarifying learning goals, seeking feedback, and creating more consistent opportunities to listen to families and understand what they need. They are also exploring new ways to bring Jewish learning more broadly into congregational life. And that collaboration between clergy, staff, and lay leadership is one example of how Temple Beth continues to grow and thrive. You can see the value of that partnership across other areas as well. For example, the work Cantor Rodnitsky has begun around music and worship. Her vision is not simply about adding more music, right? It's about strengthening how our congregation experiences prayer together, This includes thoughtfully expanding the musical ensemble over time and layering voices and instruments to create a fuller, more supportive sound, one that invites participation and gives people confidence to join in. It is about creating a sense of warmth, connection, a shared voice in the room, where people do not feel like observers but participants in the shared spiritual experience. Because when worship feels meaningful and engaging, people return, bring others, and deepen their connection to Judaism and to one another. And that vision only becomes reality through partnership. Cantor developed this vision and worked closely with her clergy colleagues and lay leaders, including our finance committee, to ensure it could be thoughtfully incorporated into the budget and implemented in a sustainable way over time. The common thread running through these examples and so many others is this: Temple Bethel's strength is driven by the talent, dedication, and collaboration of our people, by a strong and increasingly intentional partnership between our clergy, staff, and our board members, committee leaders, and volunteers. That partnership is what allows us to translate vision into action and values into real experiences for our community. Everything we are building depends on our clergy and staff. Everything. I'm a longtime member of this community and have served on the board for many years. But serving as president has given me a different vantage point, one that has allowed me to see more clearly how the sense of connection, belonging, and meaning that so many of us experience actually comes to life. I've attended conferences with leaders from large congregations across the country. I've met with leaders across Shalom Park and through the greater Charlotte community. I've sat in on clergy and staff meetings. These have all been new experiences for me, and they have given me a deeper appreciation for what it takes to build and sustain a vibrant congregation. And I can say, without qualification, that our clergy and staff are the best in the business. We have a truly exceptional team guiding our spiritual lives, and for that, I'm deeply grateful. And at a time when anti-Semitism is rising, the geopolitical environment remains challenging, and the needs of our congregation continue to grow, the demands on our clergy and our staff continue to grow as well. That makes it essential that we continue to foster an environment where our clergy and staff feel supported, valued, and able to sustain this work over the long term. That includes how we invest in our organization, something that Jonathan will speak more about shortly. It is our shared Jewish responsibility as a congregation to support those who lead, to care for one another, and to help build the future of Temple Bethel. This vibrant community is not something we just experience. It is something we build together with deep connection, a shared sense of responsibility, and a commitment to a meaningful Jewish future. Leadership plays an important role in shaping what comes next. It influences who steps forward, how we support one another, and how we invest in the people who will guide Temple Bethel into the future. And with that, I'd like to turn things over to John Jay, chair of our Nominating and Governance Committee, to lead us through the election of our next group of lay leaders. Thank you.